I was born and raised in Kansas, which is a long ways away from the ocean. But in 7th grade, because of a Boy Scout Oceanography Merit Badge and a science fair project, I got very interested in the oceans. I spent a lot of my time as a youngster working around swimming pools, teaching lessons, lifeguarding, coaching swim team, and I thought that that was kind of like the ocean and I enjoyed it, so I decided that I'd be interested in oceanography. It kept grabbing my interest, and one thing led to another. The kind of work that I do and that my colleagues do, we're trying to reconstruct the history of the Earth. And in our case, it's the history of one particular part of the Earth, which is the oceans and their contribution to the climate system. My research has been looking at sediments, some of them on land, some of them from the ocean floor, looking for evidence of past Earth's climates. Most meaningful research that I was involved in was a project that drilled into the seafloor off of Antarctica and recovered a record that showed that the amount of ice in Antarctica has been much more changeable than we thought it had been over the last 5 million years. And that has big implications for how quickly the ice that's presently in Antarctica might change. And that has global implications because ice melting raises sea level. My favorite part about my job is being able to go out and work in the field. We're trying to reconstruct events in the past, and unlike some parts of chemistry or physics or whatever, we can't do this on a lab bench. We have to do it like detectives, where we go out in various ways, we collect the information that will help us, and then we make our interpretation as best we can on that data right now. It's really hard to say that there's one average day. In my case, that might be going out on land and working in mountains, measuring sections of sedimentary rock up the side of a mountain and taking samples. But a lot of my work has also been based on ships, where we're taking cylinders of sediment or rock out of the seafloor. And when you're doing that kind of field work, whether it's on land or in the ocean, then those tend to be intense physical days. When we're on the ship, we describe core at least 12 hours a day and then go work on reports and then go to sleep and get up the next day and we do it again. And we may do that for 2 months at a time. From the rocks that we've looked at, either in the mountain ranges or in the cores that come to us, we usually end up with hundreds or thousands of small samples that we take back to our labs. Working up the samples from one particular field season, that may take 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And so you have probably a short period of activity in the field and then sort of a long tail of the work that's in the lab. There can be a lot of adventure to it, yes. Depending on where you're working, there can be, some exciting times. We were working on this drilling ship off of southeast Greenland. There was a miscalculation on the weather forecast, and we knew that there was a storm coming, but we didn't expect it to get as bad as it was, and it reached hurricane strength. The wind was very strong. We couldn't do what we would normally do to try to stay in one place, and so the wind was blowing us backwards at 5 miles an hour through water that had icebergs in it, with waves that were 60 feet high. Eventually, one of those waves broke one of the windows on the bridge. And at that point, there was a whole bunch of water that came in on the bridge, and there are all kinds of electronics there that don't like water. So yeah, we came very close to losing the ship. In terms of trying to find your place in life, it's really hard to choose a path if you don't know that that path exists. My suggestion to young people is explore. In trying to look from the past to where I am now, I'm sure that person had no idea about any of this. I had never been to sea on a ship. I had clearly never been to Antarctica. Had some experience camping, but in no conditions that were anything like this. It's been a wonderful journey. It reaches the point where it's not a job, it's your life. I would say that most of my colleagues are like this. We do this long enough that that it just becomes part of who we are. And I think that's because we really enjoy what we do.